yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. You're going to keep this clean. Touch gloves now is yours. No block.
The trilogy of Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards is cancelled. The former champion injured his hand and will not be able to enter the octagon. The main promotion of the world is trying with all its might to find a replacement for Usman. There are a lot of options, but as for me, the best is Khamzat Chimaev. Now there is no other fighter in the welterweight division who could compete in the title race for Khamzat. Hello everyone, Fighters Are With You MMA Predictions channel. In this video, I will give a prediction for a high-profile fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Leon Edwards. But before starting this video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so that as many people as possible can see this video. As I said above, right now there is no fighter in the welterweight division who can beat the Greyhound. Many assure that Jorge Masvidal can come on as a substitute. You seriously think that a fighter who has 3 defeats in a row will be able to somehow overtake the fighter on a series of victories plus fierce hype? For Gamebred right now, the path to a title fight is closed. Colby is in litigation with the same Jorge, and right now he has no time for fights, not a single attack. We have not heard any statement from him over the past few months. Yes, Bilal Muhammad is a good contender, but look at his resume. Who he beaten of the tops are only Sean Brady and Vicent Luke. I agree the names are not bad, but his popularity leaves much to be desired. But he is already working on it, trying in every possible way to poke fun at fighters from his division. As you could understand, there are not enough contenders in the welterweight division, and Khamzat Chimaev may well come on as a substitute and try to take the belt from Leon Edwards, as I think this is an ideal chance for him. If Kamaru was the champion, then it would really be worth thinking about whether to enter the octagon at all. But Edwards, let's be honest, is much lower level, and it is much easier to fight him than the Nigerian. In this video, we will try to understand whether Khamzat will be able to bring the belt to Chechnya, whether he will be able to reduce the weight to welterweight, since the last time he failed to show the necessary numbers on the scales. You will find out all this by watching the video to the very end. But we will not delay and finally proceed to the sweetest part of this video, analysis of skills. Percussion style. Well, let's start with the champion of this weight class, Leon Edwards. Rocky showed all his intelligence and ability to hit the target in the last fight. After this fight, I understood one detail. If Leon throws an accurate and strong punch, the opponent will not get up. It was in the second fight in the main promotion of the world, when Edwards managed to send his opponent to dream in 8 seconds. The same fate awaited Kamaru Usman, who also felt the striking technique of Leon Edwards. Rocky has all the necessary striking skills to call himself the best puncher in the division. Elbows, high kicks, knees, all these limbs are impeccably owned by the champion. His plan is not to knock out his counterpart. He methodically dominates his opponent throughout the fight. Now let's move on to the striking component of Khamzat Chimaev. I have repeatedly spoken about his striking technique in various forecasts, so I will not say anything new. He does not have a striking technique. This is a fact. He cannot defeat his opponent at a distance like Edwards, but for that he has this wrestling power with which he has shocked the world more than once. Ikram Aliskerov and Gerald Meerschaert perfectly felt the full power of Chechen power. No one expected this from Khamzat. Everyone thought that he was a one-sided wrestler who would not be able to show anything on his hands. But as you can see for yourself, he has a trump card in striking technique. Will he be able to catch Edwards with his punch? Most likely not. In the initial rounds, I think Leon will be so concentrated that he is unlikely to allow any blow to be struck. For the favorites in this aspect, I choose Leon Edwards. You understand everything. The variety of punches, plus, as we understood, Leon is dangerous in every round and you definitely should not relax. Playing from the bottom. Now let's move on to the wrestling skills of both athletes, where the Chechen hound Khamzat Chimaev is the clear leader. I have also repeatedly spoken about his wrestling, analyzed, and said that many bloggers forgot to note. If you want to hear a more detailed analysis of Chimaev's wrestling, then you can easily watch the previous videos where I described his wrestling skill in detail. And here I will just say a couple of obvious words. Khamzat is truly a beast in this aspect, until no one could compete with him at the bottom. Amplitude translation and a brutal beating throughout the round. After that, you will either stop and win Khamzat TKO, or a sore and you are forced to knock, otherwise broken bones will not let you sleep. Yes, Chimaev is just such a beast, which you need to stop very hard. Next we are Leon, where, to be honest, he surprised me in the fight against Kamaru. Most of the fight he defended himself from attempts to move the fight to the ground floor. Yes, several times Usman managed to knock over the Briton, but Leon managed to successfully stop most of the attempts. Against elite wrestlers, Edwards has problems almost every time. I'm sure Colby will be able to control him near the cage and can even transfer. Especially Chimaev, especially in the first rounds, will not have any difficulty in lowering the champion. But against fighters who have a more mixed fighting style, that is, they are not wrestlers and not a striker, they know both aspects. These are the representatives that Edwards can fight and control. This was the case in the fight against Rafael dos Anjos. But against the Greyhound, the game plan of the duel with the Brazilian is unlikely to be implemented. Khamzat will naturally be considered the favorite in wrestling. He is many times larger than Leon. He has learned the basics of wrestling since childhood. He will simply be better than Edwards in every aspect of the wrestling game. Cardio spirit. In terms of stamina, there are no complaints about Leon. Each of his fights is an entry into deep waters, and every run, so to speak, he gets away with it. In the fight against Kamaru, you can say he was destroyed in all aspects. He was fought, he was beaten. You could say they played with him and it seemed that he should not have had strength by the 5th round, but how he surprised by knocking out the champion tightly at that time. And after that moment I realized that Rocky has a truly phenomenal gas tank. But the same cannot be said about Khamzat. In almost every fight he finishes his opponent, thereby leaving big questions about his endurance. Only once he went through a full fight, and then in the amount of 3 rounds, where he showed that at such a distance he can have problems. So Leon Edwards would be considered the favorite at odds of 20-1. In terms of spirit, I will also believe in Rocky. After all, he was able to recover when it seemed that the fight was lost. Not every fighter can do this. Chimaev showed only one thing: if the opponent starts to fight with him, then he will also start, and therefore I chose Leon as the favorite. Forecast. I think Leon Edwards will win this fight. It seems to me that he will give the first rounds to Chimaev to work. He will get tired by the end of the 2nd round, and then the main work of Edwards will begin. Clinch, sharp elbows, knees. In general, the entire arsenal of the Briton will fly to the Greyhound.